Your sister Ella was just a young girl, obviously. What were your feelings towards her as her brother, her older brother?
We could sit here and talk all day about my feelings for my sister. A description of my feelings isn't something that I can give you in the brief time that we have together, because I loved her. I loved her with every fiber of my being.
But you say that in the present tense?
Yes.
I mean, she's dead because you killed her?
Yes.
But you love her?
Yes, I do.
Do you think you understand what love is? I mean, are you capable?
I don't really know how to answer that question. And I'm not saying that to be difficult or stubborn, but it's not simple. So I can't just point at something and say, okay, that's love. I recognize it easily, and I feel that.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Looking for trouble. Okay. Yeah, so there's a head bob and more pontificating, because he asked him a question about feelings. I don't think the guy has the capability to describe a feeling. You're going to see it compound further in to the point that it almost becomes comical. His persuasion faces back, that whole brow up and all that I loved her. And then he says present tense. He says, you use the present tense, and his face almost is like, what? And I just said, even a blind squirrel can find a nut occasionally. I don't think he did it intentionally. I think it's just this is one of those cases where I always say, sometimes people they don't think, they interchange tenses without thinking about it. I've been in places where people are switching tenses constantly. It's just because of education and because of that. And he's, by the way, been in prison for this long. I don't know. Just because you read a lot doesn't mean that you're always going to use things the correct way. He shifted his head at one point to an oblique, kind of with a stiff neck, and went to a narrow mouth when he went after him. So I see that as kind of this looks like a challenge to me, and I'm going to come back at you, but he doesn't. He looks like he's about to fry a circuit trying to figure out feelings and describe them, doing all that mouth movement. And I associate that mouth movement with, if you have children, when they're coloring and they sit and move their tongue around their mouth. That's humans do that. Mammals do that. Horses move their mouth when they're thinking. We have to be taught as children, as humans, not to do that so that people can't take advantage of us or we don't look silly. You could imagine, CEOs standing there going, give me a minute. What would you think? So we have to teach people not to do that. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes in interviews, Piers Morgan needs to back off. In this one, he's just sensational. He's just lovely because he puts him right in the corner there and annoys, I think, the hell out of him, calling him out on this love and loved.
Yeah.
Fascinating, Mark.
For sure.
Fascinating.
One of your best.
Genuinely.
You just froze for a little bit.
Oh, how long? Enough that
8 seconds, probably. Yeah.
8 seconds. Wow. Okay.
You could write a bull for that.
I'll let people imagine what was going. Imagine the best ever analysis you've ever heard. That's what happened.
That's what's missing.
In those 8 seconds. Missing. Right down below what you think it was. Look, the subject here, Bennett says, I can't just point at something and say that's love. Actually, most people can. They'll give it a go. I mean, they'll give it a shot. They might not be right. There may be more eloquent ways of saying it. They may correct that and go, yeah, I'm not sure I really put my finger on it there. But they will give a good stab at it, even if it's like, it's just that feeling that I get when this, or for me, it's this, or they'll give it, or they'll say, hey, here's what I've heard it is, and I'm not sure it's that for me, but they'll give it a good enough go. He's just going, I'm not even going there on that, and that is odd.
I think even Ozzy Osbourne has some love lyrics. You could listen.
Absolutely. Some say all the best love songs are metal songs. I don't know whether that's true. Scott Rouse, is that true?
Yes,
Good.
It is true. So I think this is fascinating as well as textbook for a psychopath, because when he asks him that question about his love for his sister as an older brother, he it's almost like he's been smacked. He reacts to that because his brain almost flips out. He has nothing for that. As much as he's read about in the DSM, as much as he's found out about what's wrong with him, all that, he can't describe love. He doesn't understand that. And that's why I think that's when this thing first starts and he first asks him that question, pay attention, because you'll see him, his head's almost like he's been smacked a little bit. He goes back. That says it all to me. I should stop right there. I'm not going to. So the reason, and quite often people say, why, I can't believe someone would do that. He would do that to somebody, or they would kill all these people. They would do all this, and it's just horrific. It's because their brain doesn't know it's horrific. It doesn't bother them at all, not even a little bit, because they don't have the equipment in there working, in other words, working properly that allows them to feel empathetic toward a person. Sympathy and empathy are two different things. Sympathy is when you feel sorry for somebody. You go, oh, man, that's horrible. I wish it hadn't happened. I'm sure it hurts. But when someone's empathetic, if you're being empathetic, you try to imagine your thumb getting hit by the hammer like that person just did. You go, oh, man, and you'll do that and look at it. That's gotta hurt. So that's the difference in sympathy and empathy. So psychopaths have no sympathy, and they obviously have no empathy, which this guy doesn't, because he doesn't understand love. So again, at the top of this, watch him almost wince as his head goes, just almost like he's been smacked. Fascinating study here. If you want to look at a real psychopath, you're looking at one when you look at that guy. Chase, what do you got?
Reminds me of the song from Night at the Roxbury. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
That's Chase Hughes. Welcome to the Midnight Storm. You know, a lot of times I'll think...
Our next letter is from Tiffany in Wisconsin.
And now Kate Bush.
The top 14,000 countdown.
When I watched this morning, if you noticed, this is the clip where the mole on his face magically transforms back onto the other side. Right. I had to stand up and walk around the office because I thought I'd been reading everything wrong the whole time. And then I went back to the previous clip. This is when I realized everything. And in the last clip, his mole's under his left eye, and this one, it magically moves to his right eye. The editors reversed the image. Maybe it wasn't even the editing. Maybe it's somebody who did this where we got the video. But when he's saying I love her, the eyes are not going down and to the right. As you're seeing in this video, they're going down left or maybe down to his right. I don't know what's right and what's wrong. But it's interesting if they are going down right, which I think they might be, because I think that mole in this video is in the right place.
I think it is.
There's actual emotion there. So when he says this, he also raises an eyebrow, and asymmetry and the down right eye movement is unusual to see here. It's not a huge cluster, but it is certainly a cluster of behavior that suggests somebody might not be giving us the whole story. And keep in mind, if I ask you a question about love and your eyes go down right, that doesn't mean that you're feeling love. Anger and hatred and all of those nasty things are also emotions. So just keep that in mind as we're going forward here. Mark, what do you got?
I've been.
Greg,
We've all been. We've all been.
All right. Chase.
So as a point of order, Chase, all the cameras are on Pierce's right-hand side.
This is the captain of dyslexia telling us this.
Yeah. So any shot where it looks like you're looking over his left shoulder has been reversed. I would suggest, because when you look at the wide shot, you can see all the cameras set up on one side. They could have only run it twice. They can't have flipped the camera over to the other side. So they're flipping it in order to look like they have more cameras, but they don't.
It makes it not reliable is the biggest thing, Chase. So you nailed it right up front. I think that's the right answer.
Yeah.
One of those tape replays.
Your sister Ella was just a young girl, obviously. What were your feelings towards her as her older brother?
We could sit here and talk all day about my feelings for my sister. A description of my feelings isn't something that I can give you in the brief time that we have together, because I loved her. I loved her with every fiber of my being. But
you say that in the present tense?
Yes.
I mean, she's dead because you killed her.
Yes.
But you love her?
Yes, I do.
Do you think you understand what love is? I mean, are you capable?
I don't really know how to answer that question. And I'm not saying that to be difficult or stubborn, but it's not simple. So I can't just point at something and say, okay, that's love. I recognize it easily, and I feel that.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.